Nasdaq production.
Yo, what's poppin'? We're gonna go over the S&P and the Nasdaq here on this little video. So it's interesting because it's like we just consolidated since pretty much the beginning of the year. We hit a market high, and we took 3 months pretty much to consolidate downward, and we made a drawback of like 13-14%. Then we have this huge reaction where we get a nice bounce because of this huge pattern that's going on. We get a bounce, right? Nice bounce. And a lot of names popped. A lot of names got some good reaction from it. But now we're starting to see all the fear starting to come back. And it's just like, man, why? Like, this is a good sign, right? That we had this huge breakout. Now, of course, we need to have some sort of ebbs and flows in the market. So it's inevitable that there's going to be a higher low here, or there's going to be some sort of a period of consolidation, right? This happened within, it felt like 2 weeks almost, right? So when you have a huge bounce like this that happens that fast, it's of course going to need some time. But overall, when we look at the bear volume, there's nothing crazy large just yet. And when we look at the weekly time frame, we're at a major resistance point. So again, like, I think it's normal. I think this is healthy consolidation. I don't see anything seriously concerning, right? Like, this is concerning right here. This huge drop is letting us know, like, okay, something's going on. But when we see this and we look back into the chart, right, I think this is perfectly normal in that we're just going through a period of consolidation to create that weekly higher low, which would look something like this, right? We get this big pop, we come right up into this range, which is resistance, and then we're going to look for a higher low in this range, something like this, before we try to break this area again, right? This area, this could come back down to here, but essentially that's what we're looking for, some sort of pullback. So I'm going to mark out a few areas that I'm looking for that we could potentially pull back to. Right? So when I'm looking at this weekly chart, I'm just going to mark off this lower wick on the 21st of March. That week, we marked a low. So we wicked from the bottom. We hold that 8 EMA. Now, I'm going to mark that sideways because this could be a range where we revisit. Now, we could also try to consolidate back to this 8 EMA. Because if you look here, right, look at this huge uptrend. There was many times where we went extended on above it, and then it took some time to consolidate and get back to that 8 EMA and retest. So I honestly think that that's probably what's happening now. I don't think there's anything to be like significantly fearful of. So when we look at the daily time frame, right, that's where we could come back to, which isn't really that significant if you're comparing like drawbacks, right? It's really not that bad. So another area we could look at is if we draw the fibs out from the very low to the top of this nice little push up, and we got this 4300 zone to potentially be aware of, which happened to be this area back when we were here back in, what was it, October 2021. So we can mark that out, right around here is another area we could potentially come back to. Now, I wouldn't be so nervous or anything like that, just because, like, honestly, like, the market's doing its thing. It's trying to fake out people right now for sure. Indubitably. There are people trying to get they're trying to fake whoever out. All this big money thrown around is like, they're trying to scare people right now. And another thing, right, just to add some technicals to it, like, we got a nice bull flag pattern shaping up. It just might take some time for it to develop. But overall, man, I don't see why there's so much like fearful scare on Twitter or whatever. Like, your trade isn't gonna, the setups are there, but like, think about how far some of these stocks went down. It might take a few weeks to get that base going, is what I'm trying to say. So then we look at the Nasdaq, it's the same thing. We come back into a major zone, we stall here, Now, I marked these zones out back in a few videos ago, so it makes sense to me that we're here. And I have this marked out as well because we might want to back test this area and get that demand zone reconfirmed, that this area is now acting as demand. So I'm not crazy worried. The only thing that would kind of scare me is large bear volume coming in, right? Significant exiting. So like one huge day that engulfs a bunch of these days, that would kind of be a little bit worrisome. But overall, man, I think this is I think we're setting up for a bigger move. It just might take some time. That's what I'm looking at here. Peace, guys.